Hello and welcome to the Crystal Lightworkers podcast to aid spirituality and well-being using crystals. My name is Jackie Winters, founder of the British Academy of Crystal Healing. And today I would like to speak with you about personal growth and how using crystals can help you develop your insight and your intuition and see through illusions. I'm going to speak about Malachite, Labradorite and Cavansite. Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me today. Sharing these podcasts with you all has brought me great joy and helped me to gain more insight within my own spiritual journey. I'm not keen on really using the word spiritual because many of us carry a definition as to the interpretation of the word spiritual, a definition that carries illusions with it of what a spiritual person might or might not do, should or should not be. So maybe I should just call it sharing my life journey with you. Becoming authentic has been one of my greatest challenges. Not that I have ever intentionally lied to anyone. Okay, maybe one or two, but because I have always aimed to speak with love, been loyal, kind and supportive, I have often found that I've avoided sharing my truth because I didn't want to deliver the truth and hurt somebody. I always aimed to speak with kindness, but sometimes I would carry the illusion that someone was going to get hurt from me owning my truth and speaking my truth. In them times, I would prioritize their feelings and sometimes even to the detriment of my own. And that did not end well for me because my inner child became very resentful to my lack of self-worth, that how I would prioritize everybody else's well-beings. Even if somebody had hurt me, I wouldn't always admit to it because I didn't want to hurt them. My mental perception carried an illusion of who I should be and how I should behave and how important it was to be loving and kind to others. However, what I had overlooked was the deep-seated feelings of hurt and upset that were gathering within my abdomen and growing a tumor. I had absolutely no idea that they were there. No, I didn't know that there was feelings, that I wasn't recognizing them at all because I was so caught up in the mind and caught up in the illusion of being a good person. And because of the tumor, I began my internal exploration and started to listen to my inner child. Early on in my life, I had created many illusions that I could have anything I wanted. So long as I worked hard enough, I could achieve it. And that's exactly what happened. I worked really hard and I burned out by the age of 40. I had actually realized my dreams. I was running 2 successful businesses and I had 2 wonderful children, many holidays, and I drove a beautiful car. Well, you get the picture, don't you? I'd materialistically achieved everything that I wanted. But what I didn't have was time, happiness, good health, and self-worth. I was permanently in service to others. So I gave it all up and I went to live in Spain. And the idea of me going to live in Spain was to get to know myself and rebalance my life. Cavansite, a beautiful, quite rare, sparkling blue crystal, came into my life in Spain. Cavansite taught me how to listen, truly listen to the silence and wait for my inner child to speak with me. Now, just a footnote here, because many of my students say, if the crystals speak to you, then do they have a different voice to your own? And the answer is that the frequency becomes part of you. So you merge into one energy. The frequency of the crystal interacts with your energy and you sort of unify, so to speak. And the internal voice that you hear is always your own mind voice that has been finely tuned by the vibration of the crystal to promote insights and release illusions that the mind has created. In other words, it helps you to see your truth. And by doing so, it helps you connect to your heart because your heart has 2 chambers, a chamber that is linked to love and a chamber that is linked to your truth. Now, Cavansite became a really good friend to me. It began to show me some of the misconceptions that I was carrying. I realized that I had created illusions and expectations of life and tried with all my might to live up to these ridiculous levels of existence, denying who I truly was. I had listened to society, teachers, media. I'd read spiritual books, all telling me what I needed to do and who I should be and what I should do to become successful, worthy, and happy. I soon started to realize that even the Disney stories of where the princess meets her amazing prince and lives happily ever after, had created discord within my own relationship because I had that belief within me that I was a princess and one day I would meet my fine prince and we would live happily ever after. Well, believe it or not, initially I believed that was going to happen. And of course, life taught me that it didn't happen and I got quite disappointed. Now, Cavansite got me to question so many areas of my life. It stripped away the pretense. And I'm not going to lie here, it was freeing, but also confusing because without all these stories, who was I? Where was I going in life? And how do I make the changes to live more authentically and without expectations? So I stayed in Spain, and after 4 years, I returned to the UK and began reconnecting with Malachite. Malachite is, for me, an incredible teacher of the truth. It can be quite ruthless. In other words, it really shows you where you are not living your truth. If I was to live in the high demands of the UK, I knew that I had to reassess again what was important to me and work out how I could exist happily, healthily, and be provided for with a new mindset. Now, this had all happened quite easily in Spain, as the lifestyle I was living there was a lot simpler, a lot slower than the UK, so my needs and wants were significantly reduced. I began to fall back into the old patterns back here in the UK, and so I called on Malachite to help me. Malachite reminded me of my childhood, where I used to trust that all my needs would be met, that it was okay for me to just be me, instead of trying too hard to meet the extreme demands that I was placing upon myself again. I learned that to find my balance, communication with my inner child was essential. And all the pre-programmed thoughts of what I should do, how I should be, what I should be doing, they all had to be released. And I needed to allow the crystals to change me. Malachite stripped away my identities, layer by layer, until I finally became exceptionally grateful for everything that I have. I found myself regularly saying thank you, because just being here was now starting to be enough for me. I began walking with my dog. Many hours were spent in nature. I continued my business and invited others to join me in their field instead of me trying to do everything for myself. Delegating meant that I was part of something bigger. I could let go of the reins and allow others, better qualified in their field, to help me move forward to create an educational service to help all those seeking the knowledge of energy medicine. It freed me up to do these podcasts and learn new ways of promoting the benefits of crystals in a more authentic manner. I also called on the energy of Labradorite. Labradorite is another crystal that has helped me strip away these old identities. Again, a crystal that advocates the truth. Its beautiful iridescent energy flowed into my energy field, bringing clarity of thoughts and wisdom to move forward in a more heart-based manner. Labradorite really is a good teacher. Teamed with Malachite and Cavansite, I was getting an overload of truth, which I needed. I had love in bucketfuls, but what I didn't have was the ability to be honest and truthful with myself and realize when I'd had enough and take time off, and realize when I wanted to do things that I hadn't to be dictated to by my own mental thought patterns. So I listened to the inner Jackie. I gave her a voice, this child within me, and started to reclaim my self-worth. Initially, I noticed I would have spare time, that I didn't actually know what to do with it when I'd got it, because I had been so used to being busy, and in my spare time, I would actually get bored now. So I started actually looking to go back into the old mental programming and realize, no, you mustn't do this. I must make the changes. So I decided that in the spare time I had, I would start meditating, sit in the nothing, and just observe and witness what it was like to be in the human form. Cracky, I'd never done this before. I'd always been busy. I'd never actually sat in the nothing and been still and felt what it was like to just be here with no thoughts, just witnessing. And I liked doing this best in the sunshine, because I could really relax, my body would really let go, and I started to detach from the egoic aspect of myself and recognize my soul and how it would bring a warm glow within me at simple things, such as when a fly landed on my nose during meditation. I actually felt blessed that this fly had stopped to say hello to me. I found that the more I let go of being me and the more I became the witness, the more my soul shone through. I catch myself walking along, grinning at the world. I would see people smiling at me and wonder why they were smiling, and then I'd realize that I'm actually smiling at them. The smile was natural. It was a reaction to the inner glow that I was feeling after connecting with my truth, after allowing myself to change, after listening to my inner child. And I am now feeling that using these wonderful crystals to help me see through the illusions, gain a deeper insight, and follow my intuition has helped me more than anything I can ever imagine. The energy of the crystals is not like having a book. It helps magnify your inner truth. In this instance, Malachite, Labradorite, and Cavansite. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you. I thank you for helping me to see my truth, speak to my inner child, remove the illusions, and once again come back to being authentically me. I appreciate this podcast as well, because doing these podcasts has mainly been about my experience, but that's how I've learned. And so to share the story with you, maybe some of you might recognize some of the feelings and things that have happened to me, or even be able to relate to what I'm saying. I learned by listening, watching, observing, and allowing the crystal vibrations to change my perception, fine-tune my awareness, and thereby adjust my reality. I aim to live in the eternal now and gently bring my focus back from wherever it decides to wander off to. But I do so as a caring mother would to an infant, with love, respect, and gratitude. And I am also now more discerning what my mind digests and careful to what I listen to and who I spend time with, nurturing my precious mind and my beautiful spirit that is housed within this human form. I know that you will find these 3 crystals will serve you well, and I would truly love to hear if your experience has been as interesting as mine. So, until we meet again, I send you much love and gratitude for joining me on this wonderful journey of life. You might want to join us on a course. Just find us on www.British Academy of Crystal Healing, or you can visit us on Facebook or Instagram. Okay, so until we meet again, stay well. Love you guys. Thank you for joining me.